if the clinic you are going to or you are potentially looking at going to is not posting, is not advertising before and after photos that they achieve, take this as a bit of a red flag and you need to look a little deeper. We are back from our hiatus, and when I say we, I mean me. You're going to notice that Rita has taken the side seat from the podcast. I've decided to drive this podcast with knowledge. We're picking a topic every episode, and I'm going to fill you with knowledge. This is going to be your one-stop shop as a tattoo removal consumer that needs unbiased, realistic information. To say, as if you couldn't already tell, but we are in our own podcast studio. For the last few months, we had a transition period. Anybody that understands budgets or is in business for himself, it's not always easy. So there was a real transition period where we had to stop the podcast so that we could slowly afford to fit out and build our own podcast studio, slowly buying the equipment and whatnot. So thank you for your patience. Now that we are back, we're in-house. This podcast studio is downstairs in our Gold Coast head office, which is super exciting. A few other things have been happening in the past months. We have a brand new laser, which arrived from Italy about a month ago now, maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago. So that's in Brisbane, along with Andrew. Andrew is our latest and greatest asset to Tattoo Removal Australia. Andrew has done tattoo removal for about 6 or 7 years. Forgive me if I'm wrong, Andrew. And he is an absolute weapon. Andrew loves the science and the detail about tattoo removal. If you are lucky enough to get the chance to meet Andrew, you'll be taken back by his really scientific and, you know what, almost geeky approach. He loves it. And it's so fascinating. I get to be in the clinic a couple days a week with him, and seeing how he operates. He loves the fine detail, which, to be honest, is kind of the polar opposite of me. I sort of run at like a higher rate where I'm trying to do everything at once. And Andrew has this really calming aura about him. And he's a really, really valuable asset. Andrew's in the Brisbane clinic Monday to Friday. I'm in there Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Saturdays, which also has freed up a bit of time. So I no longer drive to the Brisbane clinic on Thursdays. So now that I'm in the Gold Coast on Thursdays, it gives us more time to shoot the podcast, more time to provide knowledge. I have decided, and I should say we as a collective have decided to use and take this podcast in a slightly different approach, rather than a conversation where occasionally we're still going to have clients come in and we're going to talk. But for the majority, a few episodes a week, we're going to release, I don't even know what we're going to call them yet, but we are going to call them something. And what they are, they're topic-based episodes. So 3 to 4 episodes a week, I intend to release a video like this where I talk to you and I unpack problems, myths, misconceptions, any topics that I run into in my everyday life in the clinic, I will address here. And the purpose for this is to be a source of information that you as a tattoo removal consumer can come to and to learn. This podcast is picking up steam in America, and for that, thank you. I want to give you an unbiased opinion and knowledge. I'm not doing this podcast to get you to come to the Gold Coast or Brisbane to come to my clinic. I want to help you find a tattoo removal consumer that best suits your needs. Since we've sort of YouTube started to spread us into the States a bit, I've come to realize that 48 states out of 50, you don't need a whole lot of training, which is very similar to Australia. We have 3 states where you need licenses, and the rest of the states you don't. So all the more reason to share knowledge, to help guide you through a successful removal. And of course, if you have any questions, please hit the comment section below, and we'll always pick some out of there where we can dive into. We'll respond directly, and we may even pick some of those topics to answer here on the podcast. But yeah, thank you for joining us. Today, we are going to talk about a common misconception: healing. A common misconception about the tattoo removal process is the healing. It is fundamental to understand why and how long tattoo removal takes to heal. A common misconception in clinic every day with clients, we hear that my tattoo has healed within 3 to 4 days. Waiting 8 weeks between treatments is somewhat to do with your skin healing, but largely to do with your fading process. Now, your skin, theoretically, 3 or 4 days later, it is healed. There's no broken skin, there's no adverse reactions. So it's a common misconception to think, why can't I do tattoo removal once a week and we're going to speed this thing up? This is the worst thing that you can possibly do. I have seen tattoo removal providers in the industry doing 3 and 4 weeks between treatments, which is insane. And I'm going to explain to you why. Many clients misunderstand the healing process, and I am here today to set that record straight. In this modern world, this instant gratification, instant everything, tattoo removal can be somewhat tedious. It is a time-consuming process, and it is important that it remains a time-consuming process. A problem that I see in the industry is clients coming to me after having 6, 7, 8 treatments way too close together. A couple of things happens. Firstly and foremost, it's an absolute waste of money, but you need to know that your skin is not healing and you're not lasering fresh ink each treatment. By this, I mean, you have to wait the minimum 2 months, and I could argue 6 months between treatments. That way, your body actually gets the time to fade the broken ink out of your body. So then at the next treatment, we can hit the next layers. By cramming your treatments too close together, it's not allowing your body to filter out the shattered ink. If you come in, let's say hypothetically every 2 weeks, the next treatment, we would treat the same shattered ink that has already been lasered at the last treatment. Your body needs time to fade that out. There is an element of skin healing that is necessary and essential for the time frame between treatments, but for the majority, it is the value for money. When we give clients their removal assessment, we run off an estimated guesstimate. So what that means is average black tattoo we know takes between 10 to 12 treatments. Not even that, 8 to 12 treatments to completely remove. If you do those 8 to 10 treatments 1 month apart, that doesn't get you to the finish line. If you do treatments 1 month apart, you're going to do 15, 20 treatments. And I have bad news for you, but your tattoo's still not going to be removed. The time it takes between treatments is literally everything. The fundamental process of tattoo removal is time-based, and there is no way to speed this up. I have seen clinics use, I don't want to say the word sales tactic, but in my opinion, it kind of is, where, hey, we can do your treatment faster, we can get you in sooner, and using that as a tool or a mechanism to lure a new client to them as opposed to somebody else in the industry that is giving more honest and more realistic advice, and that being it's a longer, more time-consuming process. I think, it irks me. I've got a bone to pick with it because as a tattoo removal consumer, you as a client of tattoo removal, it's not really your job to know those ins and outs. You go to a reputable clinic and you just expect to be guided through it the best way you know how. And I feel like a lot of the burden of that guilt and these problems with the industry fall on tattoo removal providers. I believe tattoo removal providers, whether it's intentionally misleading or potentially they're misled themselves. I've seen a countless number of tattoo removal providers in the industry, and it's not, I don't want to say it's not their fault, but they don't know any better. If you believe what the laser companies that sell these lasers tell you, you're in for some rough lessons. We took delivery of a brand new laser 3 or 4 weeks ago in the Brisbane clinic, and no word of a lie, the man that delivered the laser, the boss, told me that, you don't need numbing cream because tattoo removal doesn't even hurt. And I was like, what? Well, like, what are you talking about? And it just reiterated the fact that these people sell lasers. I don't want to say they have a script, but technically they have a script. They know what the laser's capable of, but they have no real life, real industry experience. And for me, as somebody that's done tattoo removal for 12 years, it's painful, and you don't need some laser geek to tell you that it's not, because they simply don't know. To come full circle back to my point, if a tattoo removal provider doesn't look for right education, if they don't search for in-depth, detailed training, it is very easy for a tattoo removal provider to not actually know or be misled themselves. And this is, I don't want to be all doom and gloom, but it's a problem with the industry. So it always loops back around to the same moral of the story that I have. And that is, if you choose a good provider, you're in the best hands you possibly can. There's a couple things you need to look out for. One is before and afters. It is a bit of a no-brainer, but it does surprise me to this day how often this happens. You can take this as a tip if the clinic you are going to or you are potentially looking at going to is not posting, is not advertising before and after photos that they achieved. Take this as a bit of a red flag and you need to look a little deeper. To come back to the healing, there is no way to speed up tattoo removal. You have to understand that it is a 1 to 2 and sometimes even a 3-year process, and speeding it up isn't an option. Your body takes time. Your lymphatic system takes time to filter. Your skin takes time to heal. All of these things take time. You need to wait. Your skin needs to repair to keep any chance of pigment damage at a complete minimum. The worst thing you can possibly do when getting your tattoo removed is to try to do it fast. Take the advice of a reputable clinic. A minimum 2 months between treatments. When you're at the end of your journey, I can argue 6 to 12 months. So as a tattoo removal consumer, please take my advice that it is a journey, but it is one that as long as you show up to a good clinic with good machines that achieve good results, your tattoo will remove, and please don't rush it. Thank you for joining us for the very first episode back. Remember, tattoo removal is a journey, so is life. Do not speed it up. Enjoy the process. Yes, we want a great result, but I need you to enjoy the journey, because a year or two removing a tattoo is a whole lot better than a life living with a tattoo that you don't want. So yes, it takes years, but be patient. Don't rush it. You'll get the best result and you'll thank yourself.